Urologist reveals 5 masturbation secrets to help older men improve their health. Doc, I didn't know I was hurting myself. That's what a 74-year-old man told me sitting right across from my desk. His hands were trembling, not from disease, but from doubt. He'd been doing what millions of men do behind closed doors for years. And he thought it was harmless, natural, maybe even healthy. No one had told him otherwise. I'm Dr. Jonathan Prescott, urologist, men's health researcher. 30 years of listening to men like you, not just their symptoms, but their stories. And let me speak to you man to man. After 60, how you touch yourself matters more than you've been told. Not because it's bad, but because if you don't understand what's really going on, physically, emotionally, neurologically, you could be losing more than you think. Today, I'm not here to shame you. I'm here to open a conversation most doctors avoid and most men suffer without. Because there are 5 things, 5 damn important things about masturbation and aging that you need to know. Things that could protect your circulation, your prostate, your confidence, and even your sense of manhood. The last secret? It might just flip the switch on how you age, how you connect, and how you live, starting today. So if you're here, don't scroll away. Sit back, breathe. This isn't just about sex, it's about staying alive inside. And if you're already nodding your head, type a 1 in the comments. Let me know you're still in the fight. Let's begin. Secret number 1, your erection is no longer the whole story. Jack was 72 when he came into my office. He leaned forward, eyes tired, and asked me, half joking but fully serious, "Doc, does this mean I'm not a man anymore?" Let me tell you, if I had $1 for every time I've heard that question, I'd have retired a decade ago. But here's the truth I gave him, and I'm giving you now. No, you haven't lost your manhood. You've just been lied to about what defines it. See, when we were younger, everything was instant. Erections were strong, spontaneous, and honestly, we barely had to think about it. But now, blood flow slows, hormones shift, the nerves aren't firing like they used to. That's not failure. That's called aging, and it happens to every damn one of us. But here's the kicker. You don't need a rock-hard erection to have great sex. You don't need performance to feel connection. You don't need to keep it up to be a man. The guys who come to me in panic, they think it's all over because it's not like it was at 25. But what nobody tells them is this: pleasure doesn't disappear, it evolves. What used to be automatic now requires intention, slower, deeper, more emotional. And guess what? It can be even more fulfilling. The problem is, most of us grew up in a world that praised performance and ignored presence. Nobody pulled us aside and said, "Hey, even if it's softer, even if it takes longer, you still deserve to feel close, connected, and whole." I've had patients cry when they realized they weren't broken. They were just misinformed. And you know what else? Orgasm and erection are not the same damn thing. You can still feel pleasure. You can still have release. You can still experience that flood of intimacy, even if the mechanics look a little different. So let me say it plain. Your value is not in your hardness. It's in your presence. Not in your performance, but in your ability to be fully there for yourself and for someone else. Let that sink in. Secret number 2. Masturbation isn't just about sex,
It's about emotion and the nervous system. Let me tell you about Howard. 78, retired Marine, tough as nails on the outside, but when he walked into my office, he looked lost. "Doc," he said, "I don't feel much anymore. Not just sexually, just in general." He wasn't talking about dysfunction. He was talking about disconnection from himself, from feeling, from being alive in his own body. At first, we considered the usual culprits: circulation, hormones, medications. But what surfaced surprised even him. Howard had gotten into a quiet habit. He'd been masturbating maybe 2 or 3 times a week, not out of desire, but as a way to fall asleep, to distract himself, to soothe emotions he didn't have words for. And here's the thing most men don't know. Orgasm triggers a powerful release of brain chemicals: dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. These aren't just pleasure hormones. They regulate your stress, your sleep, your emotional balance. So for Howard and for many older men, it wasn't about sex. It was about coping. But here's the danger. When you do it on autopilot without presence, it can become just another way to go numb. The habit remains, but the meaning fades. And that's what happened to Howard. He wasn't feeling more connected, he was feeling less. The ritual was still there, but it was hollow. And he didn't even realize it until he did. I told him something I want you to hear too. If you treat this like survival, it stays shallow. But if you approach it with awareness, with intention, it can become healing. That's not about being poetic, that's neuroscience. When you slow down, stay present, pay attention to how your body responds, your nervous system takes that as a signal. I'm safe, I'm connected, I'm still here. And at our age, let's be honest, that kind of moment isn't just helpful, it's vital. So let me ask you straight. Are you using this to reconnect or to distract yourself from what you're afraid to feel? That answer might be one of the most important truths you uncover this year.
Secret number 3, use it or lose it is real, but you've been misled. Let's talk about Roy. He was 74, recently widowed, and just beginning to open up to the idea of dating again. He sat across from me, looking frustrated, embarrassed, and a little defeated. "Doc, I finally found someone I care about, but my body, it's just not showing up for me." Now let me be real with you. Roy wasn't broken. He wasn't too old. He wasn't past his prime. What he was out of practice. This is a truth most men never hear. Sexual function isn't just about age, it's about activity. And when we stop engaging with that part of ourselves, intimately, physically, even emotionally, the body adapts to the silence. You know how muscles shrink when they're not used? Well, the tissues in your penis, they work the same way. Without regular stimulation, blood flow decreases, elasticity fades, nerve sensitivity gets dull, and your body starts to say, "Well, I guess we're done with this." Roy hadn't touched himself for years, not because he didn't want to, he just assumed it didn't matter anymore. He let life, grief, and time wear down his interest, and his body followed suit. But the good news? The body is surprisingly forgiving if you give it a reason to remember. I gave Roy a simple plan. No pressure, no goal. Just gentle, mindful stimulation once or twice a week, like saying, "Hey buddy, we're still here." And after a few weeks, he came back to me with a quiet smile. I didn't expect much,
but I can feel things waking up again. And that's exactly what was happening. His circulation improved, his response time returned, and more importantly, his hope came back. Listen, you don't need to train for a marathon, but if you never walk around the block, your legs forget how. Same thing here. Your sexual function isn't something you either have or don't have. It's something you maintain. So, if you've been avoiding yourself out of fear, guilt, or just routine, let me be the one to say, it's not too late, but it is time to start. Start small, start gently, start now.
Secret number 4. Porn might be quietly rewiring your brain. Let's shift gears. This one might be tough to hear, but it's important. One evening, a man named Ernest, 68 years old, soft-spoken, widowed, sat across from me. He looked tired, not physically, just worn out inside. "Doc," he said, "I still touch myself once in a while, but honestly, I don't feel connected to it anymore. It's like nothing reaches me." And then he paused, almost whispered, "I usually need porn to even get started." Now, I'm not here to shame anyone. Let's be clear, porn exists and many men use it. But here's what most people don't understand, especially as we get older. Your brain changes. It becomes less flexible, less adaptable. And when it's fed high-intensity, rapid-fire sexual content day after day, or even just a few times a week over years, it adapts, but not in a good way. Your reward system, powered by dopamine, starts to favor the extreme. Not intimacy, not imagination, just stimulation. Fast, novel, artificial. And over time, real touch starts to feel flat. Real connection becomes harder to sustain. Even your own hand doesn't trigger much anymore because your brain's wired for a screen, not for sensation. That's what happened to Ernest. He hadn't watched porn every day, just a few nights a week over the years, especially after his wife passed. It helped him feel something until it didn't. Until one day, nothing helped at all. We worked together slowly. I asked him to take a break from porn, just a few weeks, not forever, just enough for his brain to remember something real. And what happened next? "Doc, I didn't know I could still feel this much." His sensitivity returned. His imagination reawakened. His body responded in ways he thought were long gone. That's the thing. It wasn't his age. It was the input. So here's what I'll ask you now, man to man. Is what you're watching helping you or numbing you? Is it connection or escape? Because you deserve to feel more than pixels and pressure. You deserve to feel real. Secret number 5. Masturbation can be a lifeline, not a guilty habit. Walter was 75, polite, thoughtful, the kind of man who folds his hands when he talks. He came in for a routine checkup, and just as the appointment was ending, he hesitated. "Doc," he said, voice low, "I've got a question. Is it still appropriate for me to touch myself?" He wasn't joking. He wasn't being dramatic. He was genuinely unsure, like asking permission to still feel alive. And man, that moment hit me hard. Because Walter isn't alone. So many men his age have been silently told, "You're too old for that. You should be past those urges. You should shrink into the background." Let me be very clear with you. No, You don't lose your right to feel just because your hair turned gray. In fact, masturbation done mindfully can be one of the most powerful forms of self-care for older men. Here's why. It keeps blood flowing through the pelvic region. It clears out fluids from the prostate. It lowers cortisol, eases anxiety, helps with sleep. It reminds your brain and your soul that you're still here, still alive, still whole. Walter had stopped for nearly 6 years after his wife passed. I figured that chapter was over, he told me. I didn't think I was allowed to still want. But when he slowly gave himself permission again, just a few times a month, no guilt, no pressure, something shifted. He started smiling more, sleeping better, even laughing in ways he hadn't in years. It's not about sex, he told me. It's about feeling like a man again. And that's it, right there. This isn't about being horny. It's about being human. It's about reminding yourself that even if you live alone, even if your body has changed, even if no one's touched you in years, you are still worthy of touch. You are still worthy of pleasure. You are still worthy of being alive. So if you've been carrying shame around this, drop it. Not for me, not for a video, but for yourself. Because sometimes that quiet moment alone with your body, it's not indulgence, it's not escape, it's survival. 5 secrets older men wish they knew sooner. If you're still here with me, let me tell you something straight. You've already done something most men never do. You faced a topic no one wants to talk about, and you stayed. And that tells me you're not done. You're still fighting for connection, for dignity, for truth. So before we part ways, let's walk through the 5 truths we covered today, because they're worth remembering. Your erection is not your identity. You can still feel pleasure, intimacy, and connection, even if it looks different than it did at 25. Masturbation isn't just physical, it's emotional and neurological. When done with presence, it can calm your nervous system and reconnect you to yourself. Porn might be numbing your brain's ability to feel real connection. Cutting back, even just for a few weeks, can reignite sensitivity, imagination, and desire. Masturbation isn't shameful. It can be a lifeline, a form of self-care, of staying alive inside, of telling yourself, I still matter. So let me say this clearly. You are not invisible. You are not done. You are still a man and always have been. Whether you're partnered or single, confident or unsure, this is your body, your journey, and you get to reclaim it starting today. And hey, if even one of these truths hit home for you, let me know in the comments. Type a 1 if you stayed all the way through. Type the number of the secret that meant the most to you. And if this message is something you think another man needs to hear, send it to him. You never know how much one quiet conversation like this can change someone's life. Before you go, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I share honest, age-specific health insights for men like you because no one should have to age in silence. You deserve to be seen, heard, and supported. And if no one's told you that lately, let this be the moment that changes.